Great call right there. We'll be finishing up chapter 6 today. Next week we'll do a commissioning service, and next week will be youth-led service and testimony day. And in the following week it will be in chapter 7, and we'll start we're going to study the most misquoted scripture, but most quoted scripture probably in all the Bible about thou shalt not judge. So we're going to learn about that, and that'll be in 2 weeks. But today we're going to talk about worry. And Jesus is taking us back to the things that hinder us from spiritual maturity, spiritual effectiveness. There's a story about a lady that she had been on a plane and she left something on the plane and she comes running back crying hysterically and she met an attendant and she said, I left something on the plane. I've got to get back on the plane. I can't believe I left something on the plane. And the lady's like, well, what was it, ma'am? We collect the stuff and maybe it's at the collection point. And she said, it was a book. It was a book. I've got to get this book. And she said, ma'am, what was the name of the book? She said, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. And she's freaking out because she left the book, just a small book on the plane. You'll get that tomorrow. But anyway, worry is interest paid on a debt that's not due yet. And it will hinder you worrying. Many of us will suffer from ulcers. My wife is home today. She breaks out in hives. They think it may be stress related. We can get ulcers. We can get it stresses our heart, our blood pressure. Worry causes, which opens us up to so many other physical elements. We could probably just go down a list of all the physical elements caused by worry, and we like to worry. Some people, well, if they don't have anything to worry about, will find somebody else's stuff to worry about. There's always something to worry about. What the Lord's talking about here, and He says, therefore I say to you, verse 25, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body, what you will put on it. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? If you remember last week, we were talking about you cannot serve wealth, material things, and God at the same time. You can't serve two masters. You'll love the one, you'll hate the other. One will become something that you have a bitterness toward. You might even go through the motions, but deep down you're kind of aggravated because you'd rather be doing this. Some of you have jobs you don't particularly care for. You know exactly what I'm talking about. But you can't serve God and money. So Jesus is carrying us on here, and to a point, He's not telling you not to work. 2 Thessalonians 3:10 tells you if you don't work, you don't eat. That's not what He's saying. But what He's saying is becoming overwhelmed with the idea that I've got to have more because my security lies in what I do. Okay? So what Jesus is warning about here is your life is so much more than that. If Satan can get you distracted only with your material and dutiful responsibilities, you'll be so distracted you'll have no time for Jesus. If I could tell you the times that I have heard and even said, I don't have time for that, I don't have the money for that, I can't afford this, I can't do that. I was the poster child for that. And I can tell you, and not only myself, but how many times I have had others say that to me, I don't have time to do that. I cannot afford to do that. I've got to do this. Your life, listen to me, is so much more than that. And we are created for the purpose to honor and serve the Lord here on this earth and glorify Him. And it is something that we often get distracted with. Would you agree that we stay distracted a good percentage of the time? So as we look at that thing, we see Jesus is telling us, He's basically warning us, our material wants become our idols. There's a book that Jimmy took the kids through. It's from the same guy that wrote Not a Fan. It was about our modern idols, because people think, well, I don't worship an idol. My hobby can be an idol, my job can be an idol, the ministry can be an idol. Anything can become an idol. That's something basically that we put before God. And He's saying that it's so much more. He asked a question. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? Look at the birds of the air, for they neither sow nor reap, nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not of more value than they? Tracy said one time, I've never seen a skinny bird. And that's the truth. And so when you start to realize that God is providing, now God don't build a nest for them. There's a nest right out here. He's got some, I don't know if the baby birds are still in there or not. We sitting there watching Mama feed them, but there's a nest up here. That's the baby birds in it. And see, God provides the stick, the straw. He don't build a nest for them. He provides everything they need. We don't have to get up and do something. And God provides. You are so much more valuable. Now, I know there's some folks that say your life is no more valuable than a cockroach. There are some people that believe that. Okay, there are some that believe you're just simply here by chance, that this was all an accident, and everything came from nothing, and boom, here you are. And there are those that would believe that life has no value, and if you wanted to follow out Darwin's theory to the fullest, then it's survival of the fittest is what it would be. So why in the world would we ever be doing anything to keep something from going extinct? If that's what nothing's plan was in the beginning. Anyway, fortunately, we all know that's just silly. So, but we do know that God's got a heart. You're created in His image. You were created to take care of that. And God says, listen, if I take care of the birds, how much more valuable are they? How many of you have a dog? How many of you have a dog? All right. How many of you are cat people? Okay. All right. There's nothing wrong. Hey, God bless you too. There's nothing wrong with that. But look, how many of you have a pet and you have children? Now, how many of you take care of your pets and your children? Okay. Now, some of you may not need to raise your hand on this question because this could be incriminating. But if it came down to one piece of bread left in your household, and it was either going to go to your dog, and this dog, the answer just depending on the day. I mean, just for instance, if you had to feed the dog or you had to feed the child, surely, I'm not going to ask for hands to be raised, surely you would feed your child, right? This means yes, so let me just sit silent. But that you would feed your child. Why? That you love your pet, but you love your child more. That's what God's telling you. Listen, I love you more than the birds. I love you more than the birds. That's what God said. You are so much more valuable than they are. So if God takes care and provides the birds what they need to do what they need to do, how much more is He going to make sure that you got what you need to do? Matthew got a job this week, a job that he wants. It's a good job. It's going to get paid good. Matthew, you need to give thanks to God. You got that job. Matthew's going to be going and doing the job. It's going to be his hand. But just like God has provided the straw and the sticks for the birds, but the birds don't have to build a nest, He's provided a job for Matthew, and Matthew gets the opportunity now to be faithful to what God's given. The same for you and me. So as we look at this, and he calls us, and he says, which of you, by worrying, can add 1 cubit to his statute? Now, do you understand that I ain't going to get no taller no matter how much I worry about it? You ain't going to do it. Now I don't understand this now because all the bad things that happen from worrying, but you're never going to grow. You're not going to change your physical appearance by worrying, not for the good. Some people will lose weight, they can't eat, they'll get stomach issues, they'll get so nervous, but then and for a point that might be okay, but if it continues, they get sicker. So, and God, not only is it a sin, but it also is completely useless to worry. And do you know half the time the things that we anticipate and we get so worked over and we worry about are never as bad as what we build it up to be in our minds? Is anybody familiar with that? Yeah, it always, we'll get so worked up and we'll let the devil just run loose in our head and we think, oh, this is going to happen. Oh, this is going to happen. One of the worst things that a preacher goes through, and I've talked to several, is for one of y'all to come up to me on Sunday mornings before the message and go, preacher, I need to talk to you after church. Or to call you or send you a text, say, can we get together tomorrow? Do any of y'all hate that text when that comes in and you sit there, well, what's wrong? What's going on? And they'll sit there before the message, because I told the deacons, anybody looks serious when they're approaching me before the message, tackle them on the floor and sort it out later. But, because you don't want to get distracted. But you sit there and you're pondering, what's wrong? What's going on in their life? Are they okay? Are they sick? Or what in the world has happened? And you go to them afterward and say, I went to complete synthetic oil in my vehicle. And I just said, you ever thought about trying that? Did that work out? So it's usually not as bad as what in our mind we think it's going to be. You all have had situations in your life where you just didn't want the conversation, you didn't want the meeting, you didn't want that doctor's appointment, and you get so worked up and you're sick and you can't eat, you can't sleep, and it just goes on, and then you finally get there and you realize that God was in control the whole time, and you was living in a way that like you didn't think He was. Let me tell you, I'm going to give you a little list of some things that what worrying does. Worrying, it denies certain things. Worrying, it denies the love of God. It does. It denies the love of God. It does this by implying that He doesn't care for you. He's already told you you're more important than the person. He does care for you. Another spot in the Bible, He says, cast all your cares upon Him because the Lord cares for you. That's something we need to know. He cares for me. So, whatever it is you're going through, whatever it is you're facing, whatever it is you're anxious about, you need to step up and say, listen, I need to know whose I am. I need to know whose I am. Everybody wants to know who they are, looking for who they are. It's more important to know whose you are. So I am a child of the living God. He cares for me. So when I see this, I can't and I shouldn't, and I do. And you have to call ourselves in the check. I shouldn't be able to deny His love because by worrying about it, I get to the point of, well, He doesn't really care for me. Maybe He cares for Brandon. Maybe He cares for Stephen. But I don't know that He cares about me. He bailed me out last time. Man, He ain't going to bail me out this time too. And we start to think that. And we forget that we have a loving Father, a benevolent Father who loves us, who wouldn't give us a serpent if we asked for a fish. And He wants to take care of us. So worrying denies the love of God. It also denies His wisdom, because this implies that He doesn't know what He's doing. Have you ever been, and I have, man, I've had times in my life where I went to God and out loud and mad and hurt and said, God, how in the world is this important to your grand plan? I've had that conversation with God. And your Spurgeon said, if you've never been mad at God, then you've probably never really dealt with God. So I've been at times in my life when I said, Lord, I don't understand. How can this possibly be a good thing? Lord, how can this in any way, how can this work to good like your word says it will? If you're honest, you've been there. And if you hadn't been there as a believer, you probably got saved just a few minutes ago. But I went to God and I didn't understand His plan or what was going on, and didn't understand it for a while. But then, and sometimes you never understand. You just have to trust that He's God and you're not. And so you go and you say, you know what, Lord, you are wise beyond wise. My wisest day is foolishness to you. Lord God, you are just incomprehensible. Your thoughts are so much higher than that. So if we go there and we just begin to think, all right, Lord, I don't like what's going on. This doesn't make sense. And some people will come and tell you why it happens. That's a very scary thing to me. And I think often it's very contradictory. I think it's okay for you to say, look what God has done out of this. But I think sometimes when we go back and say, look, God did this so that this would happen. And we assume that we know why. I wonder how many, y'all remember Job's friends, how they were counseling Job? Some of the sorriest counseling you ever heard in your life. I don't think that it's very wise sometimes to go to people and say, look, it was either or. You go to a grieving parent and tell them that. Try to help them find justification in that. Now, I think what happens is we realize that God is in control. God does allow certain things. God does cause certain things. But we need to understand that when God brings stuff out of it, that there's many, many things that might come out of it. Or like Job, you may never know why. Job never knew this side of heaven why he lost 10 children. Never did. Job never knew this side of heaven that God had told when Satan comes to name. Not one person on that planet faithful to you. And God said, have you considered? And God said, have you considered my servant Job? Job never got an answer this side of heaven. And you know what? When you realize the vastness of eternity, you probably think back to that little vapor that we call life. You may never know. It scares me when people tell you you're always going to have, because there's just times you're just not going to have. There's times you're not going to have. The why is not as important as the who. God's all. There may be times it's completely crystal clear. And then maybe other times you just go, God's God and I'm not. And I trust you. And so not only, it denies the love of God, it denies the wisdom of God, and it denies His power by implying that He isn't able to handle our need. We don't want to, you have to get to the, confront this battle in your mind now. This is a real battle for all of us. I shared mine with you when we were waiting for the kids and praying, and we were so overwhelmed and so worried. I had to pull over one day and go to Philippians chapter 4. Because I was worried, I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping, I couldn't focus on studying. I had to pull over. Lord, you say be anxious for nothing. And I'll tell you right now, I'm pretty anxious. So here I am, Lord, pulled over, and I was pulled over at the Derrick's junkyard, and I had my Bible in my lap, I was right there by the park right beside it, and I had my Bible in my lap, and I said, Lord, you know right now I am anxious. This is a battle I'm fighting. I can't concentrate on your word. I can't concentrate on the people you call me a pastor. I can't concentrate on one of my chores. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I'm constantly worrying about this, but you say be anxious for nothing. Lord, I don't know how. I don't know how. So I need you to help me, Lord. And I sat there and we prayed, and I read that scripture over and over and over and over and over and over. And you get right down to the part, we're going to finish it up with that when we get to that point today. And it tells you what to meditate on. I said, okay, Lord. And that peace that surpasses all understanding comes there. So we need to realize that worry is a tool of the devil. So when you find yourself worrying, some of you are thinking about things right now that you know, man, why is he preaching this today? I knew I should have went off with him. Today is, you've been worrying. And it's a tool of the devil. And what you got to do is get a hold of it and say, Lord, the situation is still there. But so are you. And God, you're bigger than the situation. And you've even said that somehow, some way, the situation is going to work for my good. All things. So, Lord, I don't see how this possibly could, but in my limited mind, I don't even have the ability to see how you could do it. Some of the terrible situations in any of our lives, we never want to go through again, but we can look back at them and say it brought us closer to God than anything we've ever been through. And it helped, it molded us, and that is good. He said, but it hurt. But it didn't stay there. And yet there's losses and there's things that we miss, and we wish they weren't gone, or we wish this situation maybe would have happened. And sometimes we'll reminisce and we'll compare the days gone by, and we'll say this was such a good thing. How I would love to return to that. But you have to stop and take a spiritual evaluation and say, you know what, God, through this you have made my dependence upon you stronger than it ever was before. So somehow, some way, I realize that eternally there's a benefit there. And not just eternally, because He also blesses you here. It'll cause you to miss your purpose. If I can get you so busy about worrying that you shut down, if I was Satan, I'd get you so busy about worrying that you would shut down, you wouldn't have nothing to give to Jesus. The woe is me, I can't do nothing else right now. I'm overcome with this. But when I get this worked out, buddy, I'll be strong. You know what? The devil will have something waiting for you at the end of whatever it is you're going through right now. He will. And sometimes when we realize that, and we're so caught up in the wallowing, and we're so caught up, and they are terrible. I'm telling you something. Getting up and pressing on helps you press through. Getting up and pressing on helps you press through. It is something that gets you where you get your eyes on the Lord, and you walk through it, and then you realize the practicality. God is really there. This isn't something I just heard about on Sunday, or I needed to make myself feel better by going to church. No, God is real, and He's there. There's a supernatural strength that when I get up and I look to Him, that I can press through and somehow walk on the water, through the wind and through the wave, looking at Christ, and coming out on the other side of this stronger than ever before, being able to even thank God for it. And that is supernatural. You understand that? So, as we see, don't let it rob you of your purpose. You're put here to glorify the Father. You're put here to serve God and serve man as a representative of Christ. That's what you're put here for. Don't let clothes and food and all the things, because and you think it's any mistake that Jesus, or coincidence that Jesus is using the most immediate needed items that we think of every day. Because what He's telling you here, look, if these things are not worth your worry, then neither is the speedboat, or the new horse trade, or the certain line of clothes, or whatever the newest hairstyle. No, if the bare necessities are not worth your time in worrying, how much other junk do we worry about? Is the job down the road that ain't nobody going to remember so in a few years anyway, is that worth giving more than we give God? Are all these things, are we putting God first? They will rob you of your purpose. And our bodies are here to be servants. They're not our masters. If we're not careful with, I needed more sleep. Well, I needed, okay, here's the thing. That your body is given to you to be put to work for the kingdom. That's what it's for. And aren't you blessed to be able to do it? You know one of the sayings I hate worse than anything? Don't work too hard. I hate that saying. I do. Hey, a lot of folks need to be working a lot harder. And I'll tell people, that's the only way to get it done. And I get it. I tell my boys all the time, and my girls too. They'll say, Daddy, am I done? That's not the question. The question is that job that you were put there to do, done in such a way that you're proud that everybody knows you're the one to do it. That's the question. But when we say that whatever I can do, whatever I've been given, it is a blessing to be able to work. I want to work for the Lord. We want to use what we've been given for the Lord. Word is useless. It cannot make us taller. What is the point? It says, so why do you worry about clothing? He goes on here. It says, consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. And yet I say to you that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. You ever stop and look at the beautiful flowers? We went up to Chia Hall State Park this week. Kind of my wife called it almost spontaneous because she was wanting to leave that day. And I'm like, no, this take care, this take care, this take care. But she said, you were almost spontaneous. So I said, I used to hate it when I was spontaneous because when I was younger and spontaneous, it was very expensive. But anyway, a little bit better about that now. But then we went up to the mountains, and you just talk about how beautiful it is. It is just gorgeous. And you see the grass, and you see all the different trees, and you see the flowers on the side of the road. And you know what every bit of that should be, because I was preparing for this sermon while I was up there. Man, we'd have deer walk up behind the cabin. You see one of the biggest coyotes I've ever seen, and turkey. And I said, you know what? God loves me more than he loves them. God, you know the number of pine cones on that beautiful Virginia pine right there. You know how the number of it, Lord God, but even more than that, you know the number here on my head. It's like not just the birds and the flowers, they're like preaching a sermon if you'll stop and look. And you country folk, y'all a little bit better about that than a lot of folks. Some of the most beautiful worship services you've ever been to is sitting in the saddle at sunset. Are getting up and sitting by a stream or sitting in that boat. Just looking, I don't mean the whole it's better to be sitting in a boat fishing, thinking about God, and sitting in church thinking about fishing. No, it's better to be faithful, hanging behind in church when you're supposed to be, like the Bible tells you to, and then go fishing, maybe God even bless you more. So don't come in some cute little needy thing or what it means whatever it's called. What I'm telling you is, it's let it preach to you. Creation cries out even that there's a Trinity. Did you know that? Romans chapter 1, look it up. Creation, I've heard about men sitting in deer stands and say, man, I tell you what, I just cannot tell you. I've had men tell me that they didn't even get the shot that they wanted on a deer because they ended up in a prayer section. Just sitting there in that deer stand just thinking about God's beautiful creation. And if this creation, this fallen creation is this beautiful, how beautiful heaven must be. You know? Let it preach to you. Because that's what Jesus is saying. Look, see how beautiful these things. And Jesus tells me, he said, look, and he says, now if God clothes the grass of the field, verse 30, which today is and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, will he not much more clothe you, O ye of little faith? Therefore do not worry, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or what shall we wear? For after all these things the Gentiles seek, for your heavenly Father knows that you need all these things. God knows you need every bit of that stuff. He knows your needs better than you know your needs. Now, like I said, that doesn't mean you don't work. 2 Thessalonians 3:10, you don't work, you don't need. But he asked them, ye of little faith, can you trust the Lord? Can you trust God? There are some of you that next week you have taken off. You get limited vacation. You have taken off next week. You're losing a week. You paid $350 for a family. You're not supposed to brag on yourself, so I'm going to brag on you. All right? You pay $350 for a family. You are going up to a place for people you do not know simply to help out another church, be the hands and feet of Jesus in a community that suffered tragedy. Now, there should be a part of your mind, if you're human, that said, man, I don't know about that. I only get 2 weeks a year vacation. And $350, that's a lot I can do with $350. I mean, I want to help them. That's a lot I can do with $350. I got stuff that I need to do. How am I going to go to West Virginia and do stuff they ain't doing out there? If any of you are human and that crossed your mind, you know what I'm talking about. All those things should cross your mind. Many of you, you came out during the Camp Okaloosa and you gave up your time. The teenagers. How do you get a teenager up before 7 o'clock in the summer? Especially when you tell them you're going to work for free for Jesus. You're going to teach little kids that ain't going to listen to you. You're going to teach teenagers that ain't going to listen to you. And you're going to have to clean up the mess when they leave. We'll see y'all tomorrow. And they say, okay. You know what? That's somebody that understands, look, life is more than just these material things. There's something I want to do. I want to do something for Jesus. I want you to look at, real quick, at Exodus chapter 16. We get nervous. We second guess God. God, you don't know. I mean, God left a burden on your heart, something you want to do. Answer a call, whatever it is, you make a decision, your family, you're going to be a faithful giver. God will put a burden on you, and you start to struggle with it. You go, I don't know. In Exodus chapter 16, we see that the children of Israel had been led out of slavery. Their job had been made harder. They were sitting there by the fire like we all do. You know what they did? They were reminiscing about how good slavery was. Oh, I was a slave. I was in bondage. You understand, there was a point in the Hebrew history where they were killing the babies that were being born. Can you imagine a society that kills its babies? And they're looking back at this and reminiscing. And look, in verse 3, and the children of Israel said to them, oh, that we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the pots of meat, and when we ate bread to the full. For you have brought us into the wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger. Now, and if you'll go back and read, you find out they were praying to be delivered. They wanted to be delivered. They got what they asked God for. God answered their prayer. And the only thing they could do was whine and complain and cry. Some of us get jobs that we want and we long for. We pray, oh, God, let me get this job. God, let me get this job. God, let me get this job. Talk to us 3 years later. I tell you what, you bunch of idiots come to this company and I blah, 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 blah. And we whine, we cry. I ain't never heard a bird say, I tell you what, this is the sorriest pine straws out there. What would happen if we begin to be thankful and remember that it is God who provides and we are to be the stewards of what God has given? They are whining and crying. This is the first Baptist in the Bible. They are whining and crying right here. And you just, brother, we'd have been better off to die back in slavery when we were fed well. They fed you well because they were working you like a dog. See, Satan will keep you fed, fat, and happy as long as he can keep you. You understand? And it's going to cost you. He goes on, and the Lord, verse 4 says, the Lord said to Moses, behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go and gather a certain quota every day, that I may test them. Uh-oh. See, God was going to give them something, but he was going to test them with it. I wonder how we do on the test that God gives us and what God's given us. I may test them whether they will walk in my law or not. He told them, so this is what you're going to do. He said, you're going to go out every day. And you're going to have what's called an omer, it's 1/10 of an ephah. And they were going to go out, basically it's a jar. And you're going to go out and you're going to gather stuff 6 days. And don't save none of it till the morning now. And ain't nobody going to laugh. Everybody's going to have enough. They're probably going to have quail come to the camp at night. You're going to have meat. And in the morning, there was just stuff just as fine as the dew. Like a little white. Just, the word manna literally means what. And it was like this bread. They would go out and they would gather this. God would bring the food to the camp. And he wanted to see. Remember, this was a test according to verse 4. He wanted to see if they'd be faithful with him. But they would go and they would collect this, and they were given an instruction. Don't save none of it till the morning. Every day you're going to go gather this. Well, somebody got smart and they said, I don't want to gather this every day. But I'm feeling froggy today. I'm just going to take 2 homers with me and I'm going to go ahead and fill this up. And you know what it did? It stank. and it got worms and it spoiled. But he said, this is what we're going to do. He said, on the day before the Sabbath, listen, you're going to gather enough the day before. You're going to bake what you can, and you're going to have plenty. And that night it didn't run. Why? Because that's what God said. And Moses, let you go over to verse 20, it said, notwithstanding they did not heed Moses. But some of them left part of it until morning and bread worms and stank, and Moses was angry with them. But when they would go on, and there'd be enough on the Sabbath day. But we never want to do it the way God tells us to do it, even though God's the one providing. You ever get aggravated with your children and just remind them how much you've given them? Bill Cosby said one time, he said, I wanted to show you, told Theo, he said, I brought you into this world, I will take you out. Right? But you ever think about that and you get so aggravated when you're young, I brought you these shoes and you don't, I brought you these shoes 3 days ago. And you don't know where, we did this with training. We're up in the mountain, the boy lost. There ain't a much little he ain't investigating. Okay? He's a 6-year-old boy, that's what he should be doing, right? And I know that. But my mom and dad do it too, and they still got on me for doing it. But so we went and bought the boys some shoes. We said, listen, we're going to buy you the cheapest shoes we can find right now. We'll buy you some good before school starts. Yes, sir. Made them buy their own socks, because they ain't a sock ever made it back to my household. They're just all over the place. But we're up there in Alabama, sitting there, and so, looking out over the mountain range, it's a sweet moment. This is one of those moments that are, few and far between when nobody's in trouble or nothing like that. And man, it's just God's beautiful creation. You got some pictures taken. I look down at the boy's feet, and he's wearing his old shoes with the toes sticking out the bottom of it. Where's that? I said, boy, where are your shoes? And he said those words that I hear so often. I don't know. Boy, I just bought you a brand new pair of shoes and told you to put them in the same place. Every night we go through this and blah, blah. Hey, I don't know. Where are they? I found one. Let me tell you, them shoes ain't free and then blah, blah, blah. The same old thing. I got them for him. I expected him to handle them a certain way. I expected him to appreciate them. I expected him to take care of it. And God says, David, I expect the same from you. Oh, man. David, what have you done with this? David, I gave you this. Have you been a good steward of it? David, what about this? And the boy needs to find the shoes. And I need to be faithful to what God's given me. And you look at this, and they were given this quail, manna from heaven, they were given this thing, and they were given instruction, and God did this to test them, and they failed the test miserably, because if you go right over to chapter 17, they were whining and crying again, they were no longer in slavery, now they were thirsty. Moses said, his wits in, what am I going to do with these people? And God gives them water from a rock. Jehovah Jireh, the Lord will provide. That's a name I want you to remember, so it's a Hebrew name, Jehovah Jireh. When you find yourself this week in a spot where you're thinking life is overcoming you, I don't know what I'm going to do, I'm overwhelmed, you just say, you know what, Jehovah Jireh. Just say that. It's the power in that name. God will provide. And He will. It might not be in the way you want, but He will provide. He's going to take care of you. I wonder how many times the saints of God have they prayed that when there was no income, there was nothing to go on. I wonder how many times God has supernaturally made a gallon of gas go twice as far, and we take it for granted. I wonder how many times maybe there was just a little more bread in the bag than we thought there should have been, and God's provided. We take it for granted. God will provide. You might not be steak and lobster every night, but you're going to survive. Trust in Him. Worrying, don't put more bread in the bag. Worrying, don't put more gas in the tank, does it? And it don't make you taller either. Because Brandon worries a lot. Can you imagine how tall Brandon would be if Brandon was worrying? We couldn't even get him in here, right? And I worry all the time. I got it from my mama. I have a season pass to Worryville, okay? And I'm sure. So thank God that it doesn't. Worrying doesn't add to keep it, too. That's all I need. So we got to trust the Lord. And that's what they have to go back and realize. We were wanting slavery. He was faithful in the morning. He was faithful in the evening. The Lord, He is our God. The Lord is with us. Now Malachi 3:8, I want you to go over there. The last book in the Old Testament. I want to show you something. You want to learn about faith getting lost. Oh, he's preaching on that. No, I'll get real with you for a minute. You want to learn about faith getting lost. Because this is the one place in the Bible where God says, try me. Now we know, do not tempt the Lord thy God. But in this one place in Malachi, in chapter 3, if you look at verse 8, God, you're going to see what God says. It says, will a man rob God? It says, yet you have robbed me. But you say, in what way have we robbed you? In tithes and offerings. You are cursed with a curse, for you have robbed me. Even this whole nation, bring all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house. And listen to what he says now. And try me now in this, says the Lord of hosts. That means mighty leader of an army. I like that they use that. He's letting you know, look, don't you think he's powerless? He said, try me now in this, says the Lord of hosts, if I will not open for you the windows of heaven and pour out for you such blessing that there will not be room enough to receive. You want to find out how deep your faith is, open yourself up to it. And I mean, and yeah, that's you see what that was talking about, tithes and all. I'm talking about your time too. There's always something else to buy. There's always something else to do. You start saying, you know what, God, it is yours, and I'll trust you with it. And you'll find out that God will do more than what you got left than you could have ever done if you had more than you had to begin. God is in control. Do you believe Him? Or here's the question you have to ask. If there's parts that you reserve of yourself here, and you literally, this is your response. God, I trust you with my eternity, but not with my today. Get real for just a minute. And you get to the point where you have to ask that question. Am I trusting Jesus with just my eternity? Or am I trusting Jesus with my everyday? You have to ask that. Is He the Lord of my salvation, or is He the Lord of all creation? Is He my God and my King? Am I surrendered completely and wholly trusting Him with all that I have, with all that I do? I am yours, Lord. Worrying accomplishes nothing. I will no longer glorify Satan with that. But God, I'm going to need your help not to do it. Because some of us struggle like crazy. So you've got to get real. You've got to say, do I trust you, Lord? Okay, if God is who He says He is, can you trust Him? Absolutely. So the question, and to be reminded, to say, all right, Lord, I have got to trust you. I've got to do what you... Sophia was on the rock wall the other day, and they got horses on, they got helmets, and they've got a rope, and Jimmy's on the lane down there. And she gets up, and she's got like 2 more feet to go. And she's almost to the top. She's only about this tall. So she's almost there, and she's paralyzed with fear. Because fear will paralyze you. It'll put you to the point of your faith where I'm no longer moving up. Matter of fact, if we would have let her, she would have went back down. Jenny's got her on belay. Some of the kids crawl up the wall with her. I crawl up the wall behind her. And we're telling her, you can do this. Paw-Paw's up there hanging off the wall, reaching around the corner. I mean, well, you can do this, baby. You can do this. Come on, you can do this. I want to get down. I want to get down. You ain't getting down, baby. Come on, you can do this. You're almost there. Look, trust us. We got you. Jim was telling us that we got you. You cannot fall. You can't fall. I got you. You know what she did? It took a little convincing. That little bitty girl got to the top of that 14-foot wall. She was so proud when she did. And we were talking about that still. We crossed the creek this week, and up in the Talladega Mountain forest, and she was a little scared. I said, "Baby, you remember you climbed that rock wall?" "Yes, I did." "Yes, I did." She still busted her tail several times on the rocks, but I'm going to tell you, she was willing to go. Because she knew we wasn't going to take her nowhere, that we wasn't going to be out there with her. And so many times we get paralyzed with fear, and we hear God tell us, come on, climb, reach. You can do this. You got this. God, I'm scared. God, I ain't got time. God, I can't afford it. God, I don't know. And God says, trust me. Trust me. We got this. And you know, when you come through that, just like little old Sophia said, man, God, you got to brag on God a little bit, don't you? Because I tell you what, you come back to it, man, I was doubting, I was in fear, I was this, I was that, and God, man, He come through, He done, you brag on God a little bit. And don't be like the disciples, where you seen Him feed 5,000, you seen Him feed 4,000, and God, He tells you to word 11 Pharisees, and you say, we didn't bring one? Oh my goodness, what are we going to do? You just seen 9,000 people get fed. Chill and trust. Don't forget what He's done. The Bible says in Philippians chapter 4 to meditate on those things. Meditate on the good things. Think about things worth thinking about. You need to go and spend that time on the victories. You say, God, You are in control. You are in charge. I trust You. I'm following You, Lord Jesus. And you know what? I can't fall. You've got it. You have got it. Man, when you learn to live like that, and I believe that is a daily thing. You know how many times I whooped worry through Christ? How many times? You know how many times I'm going to fight that battle probably this week? How many times? And I think that's where it's worth to keep going back and saying, Lord, I trust You. Lord, You got it. Jehovah Jireh, You are the God who will provide. And this is the last part of this. Look what He says. He just told you that God knows you need all that. Verse 33, but seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about its own things. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. That is a fact. If we look at this and we say, you know what, Lord, I've got to put You first. You go to work for Christ. You enlist in the army of Christ, which if you're a blood-bought, born-again child of God, you're enlisted. And you say, Lord Jesus, I want to serve You. Your priorities now are my priorities. I want You first. I want to seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness. Come what may, that's what God's going to make sure you're taken care of. He tells you that. Try Him. He's got this. He's got you. Here's the thing. You can put first things first and get the second things thrown in. What does it say? Seek ye first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. Those common things you need to survive, they're going to be there. You put first things first and you get the second things thrown in. But here's the thing. You put second things first and you lose them both. Where are your priorities? You put first things first and you get the second things thrown in. If you put the second things first, you lose both. Where do your priorities lie? And be honest with God. You tell me, I say, God, I'm struggling with this. We were teaching Jacob about giving out of his paycheck. And he did the first time. The second time, went back to his garage, you got to give. He said, well, I ain't never going to have any money. So that ain't how it works. God's math is different. And you begin to trust, and you say, okay, Lord, I'm trusting You first. You first. There's a ton of things that you could be doing. Plenty of things that need to be done. But I'm pleading with you as someone who loves you and who represents the Lord God Almighty, as you do also. Seek Him first and see what happens. Worry is the devil's tool, and it will eat you like a cancer from the inside out. That don't mean you ain't going to worry. What you need to be reminded of is when you worry, you've got somewhere to take it. Take it to the cross.